My name is Mel Cottone. I was born in a coal camp house in Logan County, West Virginia. I was 6 years old before I had the good fortune to have a toilet in my house. My father was a disabled Italian immigrant coal miner, and I'd been working around the coal mines. And fortunately for me, in 1960, something really beautiful happened to me. John Kennedy decided to run for president of the United States. And his major thing that he had to prove was that a Catholic could win in a Protestant state, because previously Al Smith, the governor of New York, had ran as a Catholic and didn't make it. So that John Kennedy, when he announced on January the 2nd, 1960, the establishment was against him. All the major Catholic politicians were against him. Mrs. Roosevelt was against him. Mr. Truman was against him. But he said, I'm going to go out and talk to the people. And John Kennedy came to West Virginia. Initially, I met Ted Kennedy in early 1960, and he asked me if I would help him, and I volunteered to help him. And then John Kennedy came to West Virginia, and I became one of their key field people down there. And so after he won, they promised me they'd give me a job. So I got in my car and I drove to Washington, D.C. I'd never been to a city in my life. I'd never eaten in a restaurant in my life. I'd never been in a hotel in my life. And after a couple of weeks, I ran into them, and the gentleman said, what are you doing here? I said, you told me you'd give me a job. He says, I hope no one else took me serious. But fortunately, I ended up, Bobby Kennedy interviewed me and hired me as an advancement. In those days, there was no Secret Service, and there'd been little of really advanced work done. So I ended up going to Detroit on an airplane for the first time, and I ended up in Muskegon, Michigan, and it was Labor Day, September the 6th, 1960. The weather was nice, and the people came to the beach where I had John Kennedy speaking, and 50,000 people came out to see him. I couldn't believe the crowd. I ended up being one of John Kennedy's top advance men all over America, and I'd gone to Dallas and came back, and 2 weeks before John Kennedy was assassinated, his brother-in-law Steve Smith appointed me to be the re-election campaign manager for 1964. My life had changed so much because of that meeting that I had with Ted Kennedy in West Virginia in 1960. Unfortunately, the assassination took place, and I was one of the few people that went from Kennedy to LBJ, and I became one of the top advancement from LBJ, and I became a lawyer and continued doing political work and became a lobbyist, and I've had quite a life. I spent a week with Harry Truman. I was a manager of inaugural balls. You name the life, I've had it. And for a kid from the coal camp house to the White House, it's quite a story.
That is absolutely phenomenal, my friend. I want you to have yourself a fantastic day.
Thank you.